Today we're going to talk about shamanic energy work and shamanic tools. So for some people the word shaman can be loaded, and so I'll talk about this briefly. Those who might call themselves shaman are indigenous people who are trained in a technique of healing that is a cultural technique for them. This existed throughout all humankind's time on the planet. So we know 50,000 plus years ago people were doing this. And they called themselves various things. So their different tribes or cultures had a name for indigenous healers. And I'm talking about energy healers, not herbalists and such. And so most of these just vanished over time, these toolkits that these people used. We do know in general that they were very similar across the planet. And they used stepping into energy space, which is shamanic journeying, to elicit change in the real world. And that was really their most powerful toolkit. We do see this across cultures that still exist, that still use these tools. Now, some people are trained in this, and they're either trained by the indigenous culture, and they're part of their culture. And there are other peoples that are trained in this that are not. And this is a valuable tool to train people in because it is a great way of healing. And so I talked a little bit about what it is. And so a shaman, which is a very generic term again, is someone who holds the space in between this world and the spirit world or the energy world. So they're able to receive messages, wisdom, work with spirits who are in that space, and then pass that medicine down to people who are in kind of this space, this physical earthly space. So they stand in the middle. So they do a variety of things. So they can get wisdom from these energies in the spirit space. That's one primary thing they do. The other thing is they can operate in this spiritual space and do things. And so where channeling is sort of passive, we talked about Reiki and angelic, it passes through you to the person. This is fairly active. So in this space, the practitioner will feel, know, or see things in the energy space that is affecting the person in this space, this real biological space. All the spaces are real in this biological space, and they can do something. So you might see an attachment, something stuck to the person in the energy space. And in that space, the shamanic tools practitioner will remove it. They'll have a variety of ways of doing this. And this actually can be cultural too. In some cultures, they'll have maybe power animals or spirit helpers that do all the work in the space while the shamanic practitioner is there with them. And some might do it themselves. They might have a tool, they might have a crystal or a energy blade to cut something out, or may do it with their energy hands. They might remove this attachment. And so in shamanic energy work, the hallmark is this trance state, you might call it a light trance state, where the practitioner can enter and kind of see and interact in this energy or spiritual space. And this space has many words for it depending on your culture. And so they'll be in this light trance. Light trance is something you can talk to people in. Light trance is something we're all familiar with. If you're watching TV and you're super zoned in and you know what's kind of going on around you, but you're really focused, well, that's a light trance state, right? And same thing with reading a book, watching a movie, you kind of slip into these states. So in this state, they can enter this space, see what's going on, get a read upon it, do something about it, and then step back into this space fully. This is also talking with spirits. Mediums enter this space. So all shamanic practitioners are mediums. They just don't focus only on human beings, but they talk to spirit entities, including past people who have passed. So mediumship is a shamanic tool. So speaking to people who have passed, or speaking to ancestors, speaking to power helpers of all kinds, that's shamanic work as well. So it's complicated, right? There's a lot of things that a shamanic worker can do, but in our practice, it's another set of tools that we can utilize during a session, and we can combine that with all the other tools we have. So we can channel energy during the session, Reiki and angelic. During the session, we might organically see something that comes to us. We see an attachment. Suddenly we see, it looks like a spike is in the person's head in the energy space. It'll come to us like a flash. It's not necessarily that we're looking for it, but our eyes are opened to it, and we'll see it when it's there. It'll just come into our mind. It can be very quick, or it can stick, and we'll see it, and we can kind of manipulate that to remove it. We don't always know where it comes from or why, but we can remove it, and knowing that we do so, when we do so, it should have an effect in the real world, whether it's subtle or less than subtle, kind of dramatic in some cases. And we can continue to channel energy, which kind of helps the whole person feel better. Shamanic practitioners always do, or can also do other things. They use sound a lot, so rattles, drums, all those. They use that to sort of move energy, and that can be a very effective way of moving energy. As well as, again, talking to spirits, getting messages from your spirit helpers, telling, we do this, and this is what I think is super powerful, letting people know that they have helpers who are always looking out for them, who love them and wish to step forward for them. This can be very powerful for people, especially people who feel sad and lost and lonely, to let them know that they are never alone and there are always beings that love them and are with them. So shamanic work is a very powerful tool, especially when added to other tools. You can get a really well-rounded experience, and it's all about seeing into the spirit or energy plane, and not only seeing into it, getting messages from it, gaining wisdom there, and having action, doing something, removing things, adding things, removing obstacles from a person. Another example could be you see a person and they seem to be chained to the ground, right? What is that? I don't know. They're stuck. They can't move forward. In the energy space, it's showing us this as this picture. And so the shamanic practitioner can break these chains. They need to think about it. Do they really want to break the chains? Does the client want the chains broken? There's a lot of discernment in this space. You can't just act without thinking. So it requires someone who has experience with this symbology and someone who has experience working with people, because in this space, actions matter. So channeling, very easy. If you learn to channel, it goes into the person, it helps them. This space, you want a little discernment, wisdom, and experience in order for the best actions to be provided. So that is sort of a long and perhaps not super focused explanation of shamanic work, but shamanic work is fascinating, has a lot to it, but middle ground, focus on energy space, acting in the energy space, gaining wisdom in the energy space, and bringing it back to the people who are here so they can move forward in their healing process. Any questions on that? I love to host them. We could talk about this literally for hours. It's fascinating. Pick up some books on shamanism, especially from different cultures, see how they're more alike than different. It's a really interesting deep dive into the history and ancestry of humankind. Thanks for being with us today.